We need to set the standard. You read the title of the video, and you're probably thinking, what are you even talking about? Let's go back to the beginning of the story. So, I had quite an experience in one of my streams that I usually do on my weekends, been doing it somewhat consistently, so there's something good going on there. But what is this thing that actually took place? Well, let's have a listen. The context that you need to understand is, this is fresh off of a loss. You need to understand that. And let's see exactly how what my reaction to these losses could be. How do I carry myself after these losses? I feel a lot of nausea. Tristana constantly auto-attacking. Kale constantly auto-attacking. Team is next to you, watching. No spells, no movement, just popcorn and spectating. Okay, so someone's clearly tilted. That's very clear. Then I come to the only conclusion I can really draw up. It's an inside job. You can step in. You can stop this from happening. You can do something. Auto attack, spells, summoners, movement. And you did none of the above. Instead, you just watched. You're not trying to win. So it's an inside job. You are playing for the enemy team, hoping that they win. You could do something. Piss her off. Use a spell. Do something to stop her from auto-attacking. Intervene. But you didn't. You're just watching. Me and anyone else who's getting auto-attacked, you're just watching them die. What the fuck do you think I'm supposed to think? Well, that's enough of that. But what does this have to do? Someone's clearly tilted, and it's spewing out to the camera, unfortunately, to the whole stream. Why does this propose this video to begin with? The standard. What are you talking about? Well, you see, I don't like what I see here. The reason I don't like what I saw was because it shows everything I don't want to be. A little bitch. I mean, a solo queue crybaby. In a certain light, it could be seen as humorous. It could be seen as comedic. It could seem as kind of funny to watch. But at least from what I think, from my perspective, most people who are watching this, most of my viewers, when I do have any, that's not what they want to see. They don't really care that you're complaining. And that's complaining, not really something they want to hear. They're not trying to hear none of that. I know some people do care in terms of whether I win or lose. But most people, victory, defeat, really doesn't matter. When I click on your stream, am I hearing you complain about X champion or X situation or something like that? If you're complaining, I don't really want to hear that. Let me go away. Which, when I come to a conclusion like that, I'm like, yeah, me constantly, crashing out like that don't make any sense, realistically speaking. So I gotta cut it out. Now, let's say I had quite a bit of clout and people will enjoy watching it. That's a different story, but I don't. That's not the situation at hand. So we must come up with a different dilemma and change the dynamic completely. You see, when I hit the rift and I'm playing solo queue, I get this concept that I'm a bit like Thanos. The Avengers keep sent towards my way to ensure that everything doesn't go to my plan. So I thought to myself about that, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, if that's the case, I'm gonna need to set myself a new rule, set myself to a higher standard, so that it helps me stay away from what you just saw, and I actually show you the content that I do want to show you. So I came up with the rules to set this standard. It's going to be 6 to represent, the number of infinity stones that he had when he did what he needed to do. And I got these 6 rules. So let's go over these 6 rules because that's going to be the standard from my streams going forward. So rule number 1, In under no circumstances, none whatsoever, we argue and go back and forth with solo queue players. Listen, this is something I've already said, but just because someone says something does not mean you have to listen. It is not your obligation to hear their voice box vibrate or whatever and listen to the sound that's coming out of it. You don't have to. It's none of you don't actually need to listen to none of that. But you already know that. Muting is a very overpowered tool, and I understand sometimes if you mute people and their mute and their pings, you basically drown out some of the good pings, some of the good communication and stuff like that. However, especially in solo queue, I believe, I really do, I think it's a net positive to just mute anyway, because like that you weed out most of what people are trying to do, which is just flame and just constantly throw you off your game, which as much as I don't want to admit it, is part of my content. My content is linked to how decent I am doing. I don't need to win, but I do need performance. There's a burden of performance on me. And whenever nothing is going right from my end, not really much to give you in terms of footage. And that's not good. And that's something I need to eliminate and fix immediately. Number 2, winning isn't important. Performance is. Listen, I don't mind going through 10 losses in one day. That's not really too much of an issue to me. But if I don't have any like real footage that I can post, that I can show you guys, then all of those matches, that time spent was complete wasted. So I need to, for me at least, I definitely need to focus more on the performance at hand. Do what needs to be done and deliver the content, which, as you can see in these streams, not really doing the way I want it to do. I'm, putting in some of the time, but performance slightly missing. We're gonna fix that. Number 3, I need to remember that, well, I'm not the average Diamond Darius player. The image I have of myself is basically Thanos. There's going to be a lot of ranged matchups. There's going to be a lot of bad matchups. There's going to be a lot of summoner spell usage to deter me. There's going to be a lot of team diffs. There's going to be a lot of ganks, roams from the mid laners, support, and jungler. It's going to happen, and the whole purpose is to target me. I mean, I have a big target on me. What is it? 7.7 million points. They see that and they're gonna try gun for me, obviously, because I'm a threat. That Thanos was a threat. Why do you think Avengers came for him? But jokes aside, golden EXP denial, that's damn near guaranteed. You see those plates that you want? That's not gonna happen. There's a jungler in the bush waiting for you to go for those plates so that he can do what he always does. So I need to remember this. Keep it in mind. It helps with my frustration not creeping in. Rule number 4. Frustration control. I have a very bad habit of these. Very bad habit. I get frustrated quite a lot. You saw in my streams, and some of you who also watch, you also realize that, yeah, I do get frustrated quite often. So I do need to understand that I gotta control that. Because the image I want to push out is that I'm not weak. I'm strong, especially mentally. I need to push that out there. And constantly complaining and being frustrated is not the way. I gotta remember that. Keep the frustration under control. Number 5. I mean, this kind of links with some of these things, but it's no complaining in any shape or form. And this goes even further. Yes, it's like the general no complaints, but it's also like certain mannerisms where, for example, I would see, I get flashed on, I get ulted on, and then my mid laner, who is full damage, able to do everything, they come in and do whatever it needs to be done, and I'm like, so why they gun me down, but they don't gun down the champion that is doing the most damage? How does that make sense? That's a form of complaining, and I'm trying to cut that out too. I have to do this. These are things that are necessary, especially when I'm trying to elevate and stuff like that. So Last but not least, rule number 6. You are not always a bully. You're gonna have to adapt to these situations. This could mean, and as much as I don't like, planning for these kind of things, that means I'm gonna have to give up certain minions. I'm gonna have to. There are champions I really want to kill, especially these range matchups that I really want dead. Sometimes I'm gonna have to, like, you know what? Let me back away. I can't be the bully this time, I'm gonna have to let you live a little longer, unfortunately, because I engage. I know support, mid, and jungle are. I have to hang back a little bit and allow. Bro, I don't like playing like that. You think I want to do any of those things? No, I don't. I want to kill the KO constantly, over and over, on repeat. But that's not the way of a solo queue veteran. You need to adapt to certain situations, and that's the thing. These rules do help me, not only in terms of, like, making sure that the what you see on screen is good, but it also helps me in terms of, the LP gains. I'm trying to get into Master Tier. It's not going to be easy. There's even a possibility I might not even get to Master Tier at the end of the year. But if there is any way to get closer, this is definitely it. I know there's been a gap in the content upload time. That is true, but you need to understand that I've been going through quite a lot of defeats, and these defeats, they affect me, whether I wanted to admit it or not. And I am working internally to cut that problem out. It's been difficult, but I'm working towards it. Now, one thing I do want to remind you is that these rules, I wish I could, like, implement it instantly, but it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust and, get used to them, because the idea or the shift from making these matches from personal to just business, it's not really a quick process, because at the start it's very likely that I'm going to be internally frustrated. However, we are going to work on that over the coming weeks, and we are eventually going to master each one of these rules. That's exactly my plan, and I can really see good results coming through. Anyways, that is the video for today. I hope you enjoyed realistically, the explanation to what's going on with me. These things are important, as much as I don't want to show you, as much as I don't want to talk about it, because realistically speaking, I just want to show you the gameplay. But when the gameplay has been nothing but horrendous, there's not really much to see. I'm not gonna give you trash to watch. No, I need to give you what you came to see. So, with that being said, thank you for watching today's video. Do the YouTube usuals: like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Anyways, that's it from me. All my links are down in the description below. Have a nice rest of your day, and peace late.